Hola. Mm, Hola. Ugh. I do not want to get out of bed. Do not. You, do you blame me? I know I have to. I know I have to. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I don't want to. I just don't. You just rolled out. I've been sitting here. What time is that? Like 8:30, hounding a friend to adopt a dog. He's not having it. So I'm going to have to work on that. And yeah, so I've been in bed. I literally put the kids on the bus at 6:30. I went and got a coffee, and I've just been like sitting in my bed all like snuggly. Like, what do I want to do? And then I'm like, I don't know if I really want to go on YouTube. I said, because the video yesterday was like, bleh, and things change, right? And everybody's in different energy. But I'm like, fuck it. I'll get out of bed. Well, technically, I'm not out of bed. But I told myself I might as well do something. I thought about doing the bond. And then I'm like, fuck that. Like, but then I probably should be. I've literally just been hounding a friend to get a dog. I mean, look at these dogs, right? I mean, just saying. I mean, do they get cuter than that? Like, go rescue a dog. Come on. Let's do it. So, you said no. Fine. I will just hound you every day because I already picked out your dog for you. Caught. Oh my God. And the deep past showed up, text in the middle of the night. I left it unread. Yeah. The past is going to come up right now, guys, because it's Mercury, right? And the past needs to come up to move forward. That's how Mercury works. So it is what it is. Some people having a really hard time. Other people are flowing. And then other times it's just like bam, out of the blue. And there was like another story I wanted to share with the other friends from the other weekend, but not sure if I even want to get into that right now. What up, Buttercup? What up? What up? What up? What up? Hey, cutie. You men are so sweet. Will's like, Buttercup. Dwayne's like, cutie. Ryan's like, good morning. Calling you men out right now. I'm calling you men out right now. Hey. He hasn't hit you up since 2012. Yeah, no, I'm not surprised. There's gonna be some shit coming back around. Like, you would never even believe it's gonna come back around. A lot of it is testing energy though. So this is the part you gotta be real careful. This is the part that actually like concerns me a little bit. Like, what's real, what's fake, you know. I literally, what did I say to you the other day on one of the reads? I was like, I literally said to you guys, don't think the worst and blah blah blah, right? And then like I'm on my way home, certain things, and I'm like, no. And I literally said in my head, like, what are you doing? You're just thinking the worst. Yeah, I'm sure the fuck am. Because there's really no other direction to go in. So again, I can totally see why y'all have doubts and fears and worries and expecting the worst, because I fucking did it myself. I was like, what the fuck? Fuck that. I'm not listening to my read. No, you want to know why? Because it's just easier to be like, you know, I don't know. It's when you don't have the answers to certain things, whether you're seeking them or not, it's tough. And with me, it's like I'm not even seeking answers, which I think makes it harder because I don't know like what answers I'm looking for. I don't really have particular questions, or if I do have questions in my head, like, is it my business to ask certain questions? Like, if it's someone wants me to know something, they're tell me, right? So you don't really want to pry, but you can't really have faith and, and think of the best if, you know, someone's not giving you something. I don't know how to explain it. Mercury's is tough energy. It can be it's so up and down, you know? And it would be nice to just go with the flow, but then it's like during Mercury, it's incredibly hard to go with the flow unless you're talking about it, but if you're just flowing, I don't fucking know. I think flowing's hard too, guys. How many times have we tried that, Easier said than done. How can you flow without direction? How can you flow without a conversation? How can you flow without knowing where you and someone stand? It's kind of unrealistic. And to try to do that in the midst of Mercury, you might end up disappointed, you know. One of his texts hot. Yeah. So I mean, it could be random. I could have someone hit me up tomorrow that I never expected to hear from again, or it's just how it works. I mean, one of my best friends that I am still like with. It was the end of not last year. I don't know, like a year and a half ago. It was when Mercury was hidden again, and I was in denial. I'm like, no fucking way is this him. Like, this is the one that's coming in. I remember telling you the story. Like, no fucking way. Yeah, way. It was him. And we're still talking a year and a half later. You know. So I don't know what to tell you guys. I'm on my own little fucked up path too. Am I doing the right thing? Am I not? You know? And I've battled my own morals in the last year and a half, you know? Not to the point where I ever let a situation conquer my morals. It's just, it's a lot of work. Relationship or work in general, especially if you're not on the same page, you know? That's the tough part. And I don't regret the last year and a half. I don't know if we'll have another year and a half. Like, and it's not because of Mercury. It's I don't know. Me and him will figure it out for sure, though. We'll always be friends, whether we end up together or not. It's just finding our way to one or the other. So I don't think now is the time to be like, well, I can't say for you to flow. Because if you're in a newer situation, for sure, Z flow, right? If you made a definitive answer and you're going in a new direction, then yes, now the time's to flow. But if you're not necessarily on the same page with somebody and you're not really talking about someone, you're not really talking about like now would not be the time to flow. He's your high school sweetheart. So funny. The one I've been with off and on for a year and a half, he was my high school sweetheart too. Crazy, right? Crazy. And I always laugh. Like, he was my first love. He was my first everything. And I'm like, imagine if you're my last everything. Like, what a beautiful story. I mean, there's a lot of shit in the last year and a half we've had to get through to have even a stable friendship. It's not easy dealing with the past. And when it's good, it's good. But it's not a love hate relationship, so that's good. Could be worse, you know? Could be worse. But it's not easy. And it's not easy anybody dealing with me, I'm not gonna lie. I won't go backwards, you know. And I'm not a relationship expert, but I know enough to know what's right and what's wrong and how to lay a solid foundation. And I know when there's patterns and I know when things need to be addressed and I know when, you know what I'm saying? So I think for anyone to be with me, it's hard on them because it's like you're not going to get away with jack shit. You think you're getting away with it, but you're not going to get away with it, you know? And it's and you know, sometimes he'll literally say, like, "You're a difficult woman." And it's like, no, I'm not. I'm just dealing with men that are fucking weak and don't want to take responsibility for fucking shit and don't want to put work and effort into something. And I'll call them out all the time, love them to death. But I'm gonna call it as I fucking see it. Like I love you, that confidence, everything, that drive, you have it, it's there. Right. But I'm not difficult. I'm not. You feel like I'm difficult because we've made this situation difficult, or you've made it more difficult than it needed to be. And I'll put the blame on him for that too. And he's aware of that. You know what I mean? But it's nice when they finally realize it and acknowledge it because then you can start building. Then you can take accountability, you can move forward, you can accept, you can go in a new direction. You know, me and him will be fine. We've been friends for fucking 30 years. There's no way that it's just gonna be like, you know, our bond is too powerful. So he's helped me out. I've helped him out. That's what friendships are for, right? You can't always get on the same page. When you find a best friend that ends up being a lover, it's incredibly difficult sometimes because it's not like just your best friend, you know? You got kind of a little of the best of both worlds. So everybody's just going through some shit. Things that weren't meant to be aren't meant to be. You got to move forward. You know, there's a lot of things on the board lately, straight up not meant to be. It just is not meant to be. Like it's the wheels got to turn, you know? You got to stop you got to stop putting your foot in the wheel and you got to let the fucking wheel turn. It's destiny. You weren't destined to be in that situation forever. You know? Hey, Rye. I'm calling out all my men today. How are all my men doing? I feel like you guys are a little weaker than us women, so I'm just checking in. I hate to call it out. I hate to call it out. But how you guys doing? It is a weird day. Ooh, I wonder if Sheldon's gonna wake up. Ooh, Timmy. Timmy. I'm not being an asshole. I mean, it's the truth, though. When it comes to love, oh, you guys take it hard. You take it hard. If you put that much effort into your relationship, us women would be fucking happy fucking chicklins. you know, you know, got a lot to teach you guys through experiences. And you know what's weird? I think, you know how I always experience things for you guys to experience things, and then I have the knowledge and I can tell stories and I can see things clearly. Don't think I just had a year and a half with somebody from the past that I've known for 30 years for that not to come your way. I'm not gonna lie to you. Dwayne, don't make me smack you. Don't make me smack you. Don't just leave it up to her either, though. But I guess it depends on all you guys' situations, men and women, And you're not going to get your happiness from another person. I think a lot of people are realizing that too. A lot of people and a lot of men and women were being fed with two different people, and ego gets in the way, and then your ego gets bigger and bigger, and then it's like the blindfolds on. You don't want to see the story, you don't want to see the situation, you're in denial, you don't want to see it. You know what I mean? Because you've been entertaining things, you've been giving attention to certain things and people, and so like the men, the women, it's they're waking up to like, oh shit, like denial is smacking them in the face right now because they were too busy worried about their own self and their own, just them. You know what I mean? That it's like you don't want to see things that's actually happening. And everything happens when it's supposed to. And I think that's what's most frustrating because I'll try to never, ever throw it in your face and be like, I told you. And I mean, I'll say it. But even though I say it, it's like they're not listening because they don't want to see it. They don't want to hear it. They're in denial, whatever the case may be. And then when it's said and done, it's like, you can't be like, I told you so. But you can be like, listen, I gave you heads up a while. Like, I know how this works. So trust me, I know it's got to be hard for a guy to be in my fucking life because of what I do. And just, I won't even have a friendship on a shitty foundation. You know what I'm saying? Like, if me and this guy ended up together, even the year and a half that's been up and down, it was still built on a solid foundation because you're not going to agree to go into something with me and not be on the same page. There's a lot of shit to push through. And if he's not my person, we were just meant to come back for certain things, and that's okay too, you know? So I think, I've been saying for 3 years going down a certain path when it comes to coaching and dealing with certain situations and pushing through. And it's fucking not easy. I just don't know how to incorporate YouTube yet because the knowledge I have, and I've said this to you guys, I have to put it into videos. I have to sell it. I have to market it. Like it's valuable knowledge, but it takes two people to work on it, right? So I'm just not, I can't just go on YouTube and be like, this is what you need to do, and this and this. And like, then anyone can take my knowledge and put it together, right? So that's not beneficial either. So I'm not quite sure how to go about that yet. But it would be nice to do that and then like do certain seminars. And I've been saying that for a long time, right? But how do I put together YouTube? And it doesn't have to all be based on that shit either. Like I can have different sides and aspects of YouTube and videos and I'll figure it out. And it is great to hear both sides of a story. Like what me and him just experienced, like everything had to go down that way in order to get to where we're at. Because if it didn't, like why, like that we would not have a shot of ever being together again. You know what I'm saying? So, it's tough. And the other day, I wasn't going to tell a story, but actually it's all coinciding. The other day, oh, Cassie, yeah, I have today off. My mom's like, you going to clean off your shelves? You going to do something? She bought me this big turtle picture that I was going to put over my head, but the kids are thinking about snagging it. Um, but like I need these shelves. So if anything, I could just make it like a little, but in all reality, I mean, I'm not gonna clutter anywhere everywhere. I mean, I got a fucking candle, a basket with my vitamins, and a brush that does not belong there. So like I get it. Don't mind my clutter. Okay. I get it, I know. But I got other things to fucking do. All right? Than to fucking impress you fuckers. All right? I have no need to impress you guys. So Here it is. All my lotions, my children, miscellaneous shit, Mother's Day things, plugs hanging out, tincture I got behind me, a half a cup of fucking water, taking my medicine. I just spilled coffee on my fucking bed. But now, hey, look it, I can just reach over and grab a sock because I didn't put the sock away. So, hey, that worked out for me now, didn't it? Whatever. Fuck, man. Look it, right in the fucking hamper. Don't think I didn't think this out. I got dry hands. I got my lotion right there. I mean, come on. There's a little bit of a dysfunctional thought process behind my clutter. So it's just something caught my eye. Why are men afraid to love? And why do they fake being in love with someone else? See, these are good questions, tough questions. And I think we should put women into that category too. Um, and I think it depends on generation because boys these days love the opposite fucking role play, which is like, my girls got their men wrapped around their finger. And I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? You're all a bunch of fucking pussies and you like it that way? You fucking like it that way? Oh, so now you want to be told, so now you want to be head of household and you want to be told what to do? The fuck is wrong with you guys? Like, what? I don't know if you guys experience that, but I got a 23-year-old and a 19-year-old or a 24-year-old and a 20-year-old or something like that. I've okay. Okay. Oh, and then but you know what's a little scary when I've seen like Ben, Benjamin Button, when he lashes out though, normally just when he's drunk, then he wants to like put his foot down. How about you put your fucking foot down the minute my daughter opens her mouth and talks to you like an asshole? How about you put my daughter in place? And not like in a demeanor dominestic way, like balance. Like I see relationships these days anywhere from like the age of like 17 to like 26. I don't even understand who the fuck raised you guys. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm sorry if you get offended, especially if your relationship is like that. Like, what is that? I don't even think we're gonna call that a relationship. We're gonna call that like a dysfunctional love. I don't know how to even go. I don't even know what to say. I need a man that can fucking check me. And not like I need to be checked, but you better know how to, you gotta have a little something. I can't just get, okay, babe. Okay, okay. Like, and not in a bad way. Does that make sense? Like, I love sweet and kind and understanding and sensitive. I mean, I love that. I love, it drives me nuts when men think like, all right, no one wants a man that's like, I'll give you this, I'll give you everything. Like a woman does really want a man like that. We want a man that's a little bit of both. And that's where the men I think have it twisted when it comes to women. It's not one or the other. We want the fucking balance. We want the masculine and the feminine. Most men, some are more masculine, some are more feminine. And a lot of the men right now, their egos are like fucking hello, 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 hello. Are you in there? Are you in there? You know? So I think that's what women want. And I'm assuming that's what men want, but a lot of men will do have that like in their head. Like can't win with a woman. You either want somebody who's in control or you want somebody that's gonna give you everything. It's like, no, we want it all. We want the balance, you know? Fuck that shit. Like, he better know how to dominate me and he better know how to be submissive. Take it down a fucking notch. You know, you gotta let me get away with some shit. Like, even if you know you're just letting me get away with it, let me get away with it. If you're like, oh, she's just being really cute right now, let me be cute. You know what I mean? My mom, can I come upstairs? I mean, I could, but I'm on YouTube. You leaving? Do you really need me? Do you really need me? I don't want a man to fake being in a relationship and follow this heart. I think it's tough on men and women. We have a lot of wants and needs, right? I think it's incredibly scary for men and women. As much as I want a relationship, I'm like scared shitless of having a relationship. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I want it though. I want it again. I know I'm capable of it, but it's like, ugh, you know. But it's nice. She's just like chatting. I'm like waiting for her to, because I was just about to start the story, but she's still going. Confidence is amazing and sexy. Yeah. But I think we need to talk about the confidence thing right now too. I think there's a lot we should probably talk about. I should probably write a list. Because when you're broken, um, that confidence is not there. And when you're good and you're solid, it's like you're not attracted to somebody with lack of confidence. But is the effort there? So this is a touchy subject. Yes, I'm going to Maine. Chili in the fridge for Jade. Large container. Please give her 10 apples from the bag. Just 10. She's coming at break or at lunch. All right. Let me go. Let me just go touch base with Ma real quick. All right, have fun. All right, y'all. She's going shopping. She's going shopping. And Jade is coming for lunch. So, I think she was texting me again. All right. The confidence thing. Yeah. Is it confidence? Is it ego? Is it okay to give when someone's broken? It's risky. Do I think it's worth the risk if there's See, it's tough because some people can push through and some can't. So it's one of those things where it's a balance in life. Like, is it a risk, or you gonna take a leap of faith, or is it a you're taking a risk, right? So, and then you don't want to look at it as my brain and my brain. You don't want to look at it either as, is it not worth it, or can I forgive and not forgive? Like, we've been in so many situations, and every you should always have faith, right? But I've also preached different ways of looking at faith, because sometimes people have a little too much faith, and I know that seems so, like, weird to say. So, like, if it was to come to religion, I'm not talking about that, right? But faith is faith, but I think faith has different levels of faith, right? Probably not, but in my brain right now, because sometimes having that faith keeps you holding on, and sometimes you're holding on to an illusion, right? So I don't think you necessarily want to call it faith. I guess it depends on where you're at in life, because we've had this conversation before. And when we've had this conversation, it makes so much fucking sense, you know? And it's hard to have over a lot of things. I mean, but it's a really good thing to have, right? And if you've been let down so many times and disappointed so many times, it's so incredibly hard to have faith. You know, like the one that's been my best friend for a year and a half, and we've been fucking friends for 30 years. Hard to have faith in that situation too, you know? It's like risky going that way. So it's like I can see why it's so easy to be like, oh, everything that comes in my head is like it's negative. Like, literally, I can talk myself out of a situation so quick, and I must seem like so up and down, because the next day I can look at it in a different way, and it looks like I got fucking bipolar, you know? So the confidence thing is tough. Do I think people deserve second chances? Do I think they deserve somebody having faith in them and taking a risk because there's a chance it can work and there's a chance it can't? Yes, but I'm gullible when it comes to love. And like, meaning like, I will give and I will love and I will build you. But you better appreciate the fucking energy I'm giving you, or the advice I'm giving you. Like, you can't just take it and have it go in one ear and out the other. You know what I'm saying? So you also have to know who you're dealing with, who you're feeding. Is it worth your own energy? Because they might think like, to them, well, what do you have to sacrifice? Motherfucker, I'm sacrificing a lot to put myself in a certain situation like this. Like, it might not seem that way to you, because I think a lot of people look at sacrifice as like, well, I'll be losing out on money, or I'll be doing this. Like, sacrifice for me is giving too much, and giving has nothing to do with money. Giving is your time, your energy, your love, your soul, your 2 cents, your opinion. You know what I'm saying? So that's extremely valuable to me. I have one fucking life. So it's incredibly tough. And I love this person. Me and him, no doubt, will figure it out. How do you go from just being friends? Okay, my scenario, listen to my scenario, because this might happen to you guys. This was my first everything, lost my virginity. I mean, you name it. Okay. I lived with him, 16, 17 years old. We remained friends for 28 years, even between both of our marriages and children. We met up here and there and had coffee. There was no infidelity. It was not like that, right? We just always had that connection. And then a year and a half ago, we started hooking up and obviously became more, right? Didn't see that coming at all. So now it's like 30 years later, going on 30 years later, we'll figure it out. It was, he didn't come back in and we didn't go through all this just we'll either end up being friends or we'll be together. And how we figure that out it's unknown, right? But it's going to happen, and eventually it needs to be talked about. Can't just keep dismissing stuff and dismissing stuff. And everybody has their ups and downs, you know. So when I give, I'll give, but there's got to be reciprocation. Like me and him are doing better, but I'm just saying in general, right? And it makes sense. We're talking about the past right now and certain connections. Do I think it's possible to forgive, forget? We went through cheating. We went through, you name it, we went through it. You know what I mean? And when you spend so much time apart, people grow in between. And now we come back together and we're adults, right? But there's still a lot of shit that goes down as adults, because I think people will get into the pattern of, I got away with it before, I can get away with it now. I'm having the same situation that I had 28 years ago. I don't want to let that one go, and I don't want to let that one go. And a lot of you guys might be like, Courtney, I can't believe you even put yourself in that situation. I didn't think I was putting myself in that situation, but in my soul and who I am and how I can teach and what I do for work, I'm not going to bash them and tell them to fuck off either, because I know exactly what's going down, and I know it has to go down exactly that way. Else you don't learn lessons. But everybody's not like me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I didn't let him get away with everything, but there's a lot of stuff I can let him get away with. And even a while ago, it's like, I hope you can forgive me one day. That's a given that I can forgive you, because I'm me. A lot of people wouldn't be so forgiving. But look what I do for work. You know what I'm saying? So for me to be like, if you're going to hold accountability to what went down and really been sincere, absolutely, I get it. Did I want to get hurt? Did I want to come in between this? Did I want to be part of that? No. Right? But we all have our own side of the story. We all have a story. So I guess there could be a little leeway, right? But I don't know if you guys are allowed to give leeway either. Like, how knowledgeable are you? How spiritual are you? How much belief do you have? How much can you give? You have to know, you have to at least be smart enough to know that somebody's trying to pull the wool over your eyes. Like, I saw it. I didn't tolerate it. I saw it, I acknowledged it, I called it out, and we still were off and on, off and on. You know what I mean? But we never agreed on commitment. We caught feelings, fell in love, shit hit the fan on his end, on my end. And I'm not trying to be, and honestly, I don't even know if he'll watch this, and how he's going to react to, if he's even okay with me talking about it. But I keep a lot of personal stuff out, but he should know me better, that this is what I do for work, and this is how I help people, and it's how I help myself, and we help each other, and I talk things out. I'm not the only one going through this. It would, you need people like me to talk about shit like this. Like, millions of you are in this situation all the time, and it's not easy to figure out a way to make it work. Like, there's got to be forgiveness on their side, my side. You got to talk about it. You got to acknowledge it. You got to move on from it. You can't stay stuck. I mean, there's so many. I mean, he didn't do awful, awful things. He just did stuff that he shouldn't have, but not, does that make sense? Like, he did stuff where he knew better and he did it anyway. But again, we weren't committed. Again, I'm not justifying his actions. He knew better. But again, that will come back and bite him in the ass. Guilt will kick in, other things will kick in. And if they don't, well, they had to have, because he's not a shitty person. You know what I'm saying? So will I eventually teach you guys to get through certain stuff and forgiveness? And I've done that already, right? But it's I think with us, we find ourselves saying, fuck this, going in a new direction. Sometimes you have to do that. But a lot of us are going into certain pinnacles of our life where it's shifted and it's different. And we do deal with a lot of stuff with our past, whether it's a person or not. And the person that comes into your life, they still have a fucking past, people. You know what I'm saying? And it gets real tricky when you start sleeping together or you start catching feelings or the dynamic shifts. They have stuff on their end, you have stuff on your end. It everything, I think everyone will have a breaking point, right? That you can't try to compromise on everything, can you? I've never really asked myself that. Is that kind of unrealistic? I think so, because everyone has beliefs and opinions, and you got to agree to disagree sometimes. You can't, I don't think you can compromise on everything, but you have to accept that somebody else has another a belief or opinion, and don't fight over it, you know? There's so many things, you know? So I don't think the past is an awful thing, but I you can't live in the past. There can't be, nosy Nellies and friends and exes, all that in the picture, because at that point you're not going to get real far with anybody, because at that point, man or woman, their ego's in the way, because multiple people are feeding somebody who wants attention, somebody who doesn't want to acknowledge pain, doesn't want to acknowledge something went down this way. So when multiple people are feeding, I can tell you, you won't get anything accomplished. And that's a fact. So it is tricky on how to maneuver through that energy. And holding on to the past, it holds you back. And he asked me sometimes, he'll say, can you really get past the past? And me, I want to be like, yes, of course I can. But then when I get upset sometimes, I'm thinking to myself, ever since he said that out loud, can I really? But that's just doubt. I know I can, because I don't want to live in the past. I want to live in the present moment. Like, we all have a past. I've been in your life for 30 fucking years. Like, I wouldn't have continued to stay in your life if for 1 second I was going to hound you. I never went back to him and be like, I can't believe you did this. I can't believe you did that. I can't believe it went down. I never once did I do that. I know the past is the past. Mistakes are mistakes. Me and his dynamics is incredibly hard. It was hard. It's still hard for me to talk about it with my friends. I didn't talk about it with him too much because he didn't want to talk about it. So I kind of went through it by myself. And, my friends are real quick to jump the gun and be like, fuck that, fuck this. You don't deserve that. And it's for me, I'm like, not wanting to defend him, but defending people in general, because it was real quick for my friends to be like, fuck that, and not see a certain side. And there was only a few weeks ago when I sat my friend down and I was like, listen, this is why I don't tell you certain stuff. Like, you're not seeing two sides of the story. They're blinded to it. nor have I been telling two sides of the story either, right? So when you have even friends interfering, it makes a difference. Like I've been looking, watching the reads. Like there's people giving people wrong advice. Stay with the past, stick with the past. You have kids, fix that. That is the worst advice you can give somebody. If somebody wants out and it's over, let it fucking be over. So it's so biased because I can have a friend being like, you don't want that or you don't deserve that. And I'm like, wait a minute. I literally had to sit her down and I cried. And I was crying because I was trying to explain to her, this is why I didn't say this to you. Like, let me just tell you this side of the story. Let me look at, you need to look at it in this dynamic for 1 second. And she sat there and she started crying. She's like, I'm so sorry, Courtney. Like she was so blinded to stuff too. She's been so hurt in the past that it's so quick for somebody to be like, fuck this. And I completely changed her dynamic and probably changed her perspective on love and forgiveness and so many things by me just having a conversation being like, slow your roll, you can't fucking do that, you wonder why I'm not telling you something. And it's not because I don't want to look stupid, and it's not because I don't want to make him look stupid. It's because people have biased opinions when it comes to certain stuff when you've been hurt. Fuck that. Why would you do that? Past comes back. That was my dad's first reaction. Leopards don't change their spot. Are you a fucking idiot? I taught you better. He was pissed at me for weeks when I told him that he was back in my life. Pissed. And now, when I went to his house the other night, he's like, can you bring him just bring him an apple pie? I made an apple pie. But I fought my dad for months. People do change. I don't know if he changed. I only just came back into his life. But I will tell you, you could be right and you could be wrong. But how do you know it doesn't take that one person? It's 30 years later. Well, at the time it was 28 years later. We're both adults. Not to mention, it wasn't just him back in the day why my dad's like, leopards don't change their spots. I moved out at 16. I didn't come home. I didn't show up. I dropped out of school, moved in with the love of my life, I thought. You know what I'm saying? Which is probably one of the greatest loves in my life, whether we work out or not. I think it's beautiful that he was my first love. And I think it's beautiful that the two of us fell back in love with each other and didn't even see it coming because it was in the midst of chaos. And that was at the point where, what do we do with this? What are we? You know what I'm saying? Like he's going through my thing, I'm going through he's going through vice versa, his thing, my thing. So no need to quite get on that page yet, but it doesn't mean it doesn't need to be discussed. You know? So, and if you asked me 6 months ago, if my dad said that a year later, I'd be like, you're fucking right. And I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I stuck it through. Because if I didn't stick it through, we wouldn't end up together. And if I didn't stick it through, we wouldn't end up as friends. It's going to be one or the other with me and him. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, people do change. Do you think you can get into a relationship with somebody after certain stuff went down and not expect it to be chaotic? You're out of your mind. There's no way. It's virtually impossible. It's got to be impossible. You can't just be like, all right, he's changed, I changed, we all evolved, and not discuss this and not. No, there's no way. You'd have to be willing to put the work in to take someone back that cheated, manipulated, so many things. Now, if it's the dynamic, like right now when you were dealing, like, see me and my ex-husband and he cheated and this and that, like, no, that's a little different. I'm talking, 30 years ago when he cheated, that's different. I can forgive that scenario. We were children. We were fucking children. So when he came at me apologizing for how shit went down, I was like, wow, that ate at you for 20 something years. That just goes to show how special our bond is in a way too. You know what I mean? But when someone cheats on you and it's just the two of you, that's a different dynamic. think you can fix that. I don't know how you would fix that. If time went by, years, you did your thing, you outgrew each other, and then you came back together, absolutely, I think you can fix it. If you just separate for a year or two and you're still holding on to each other and you both didn't go your own ways, you can't fix that because you didn't let shit crash and burn. You didn't go your way, they didn't go their way. You still stayed clingy for comfort in all the wrong reasons. That's toxic. That's karmic. So no, that part's not fixable. You in order for something to be fixable like that, for a certain amount of time, you guys have to go your own way. Go your own way. And then you want to hook up 3 years down the road, or not hook up like that, but you know what I mean? Like get together or talk or shoot the shit. That's different. That's fixable. But that takes work, you know? And a lot of people are having a hard time right now. So you got to be able to be supportive without coddling. Like I find myself in a situation where I'm in an awkward fucking situation. I literally am the most, and I can't share that right now, right? But I am literally in the most awkward situation, uncomfortable situation I've ever found myself in. Or it's been an extremely long time since I found myself in a situation like this. And hands down, I'm absolutely dealing with somebody who would love to just detach from so much shit. I won't let him. Even if I ends up with him or not, I won't let him be that person. There's so much more to life. Yeah, someone broke you. Let's go. Pick yourself up, have the strength, easier said than done, but you can't stay in a situation where you're confused or you're not making decisions. You're just holding yourself back. There's not much you can say to somebody who continuously says to you, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to make a decision. My head's, because plenty of people have already told them decision needs to be made. That's how you get out of your head, right? So they already have the answer. They're choosing not to do it. You can't help people in situations like that because it's almost like they don't want to see the light. They don't quite want to see it. It's comforting for them to stay in sorrow. And as fucked up as that sounds, it's the truth. They're used to handling pain. They know how to handle pain. They'd rather deal with depression than to look at something in a different light. And it's sad. It's sad because it's so much more comfortable to stay in a situation that you know is not good, but there's already comfort. There's already been vulnerability. There's already been crying. There's already been this. There's already been that. Like, God forbid, like they let go of that and started to build that with somebody else. You know, it's too much work, and people want to say, and I literally had someone say to me the same thing, the other one, why do you think it's going to work out with the other people? Because they're fucking weak and they didn't want to work on things. That's it. It's not me being that hard of a tough ass. I know what I went through. I refuse to repeat patterns. I refuse to go into a new relationship as if it's the way I went into a different relationship before. I refuse not to have a new perspective. I have to. I have to. Or how could you possibly make another relationship work? And on all the people that have been divorced a couple times and then like they have another marriage or this or they get together and they're so much happier, that's because they put work into it. They pushed through. They knew they couldn't start another relationship the way they started the other one. They knew certain people had to, certain things and go in different directions. And, because Lonnie texted me, sorry, I got sidetracked. People had to go in different directions. We were talking, oh yeah, pushing through, having to push through. Oh yeah, knowing that you have to push through. Oh yeah, instead of choosing weakness, but it's sometimes it really is easier for people just to remain weak. It's easier for them because they feel like it's too hard to push through. It's like the minute you change your perspective and your thoughts and you tell yourself you're strong, your life changes. Your world changes. It's like I don't have time to pity or sorrow or anything like that anymore. When somebody needs to make a decision and you let it go for months and months and months, yeah, you fucked yourself. You sure did. You did it to yourself though. And then it all catches up to you. Like the universe is coming in, right? You got the world, you got the tower. You were in a situation that wasn't meant to be. The universe had to come in because you weren't listening to guidance. You weren't listening to family. You weren't listening to friends. You were listening to poor advice from other people, or you were listening to your own advice, which was poor advice that was at one point given to you. It was in one ear out the other when somebody came in with a different perspective. So instead of looking at it a different perspective, somebody just probably sat back and laughed and was like, "Oh, you just trying a different approach." No, it's not a different approach. It's a different perspective because the other perspective I just gave you didn't work. It's not me being manipulative and trying to, you know what I'm saying? Breaking patterns is not easy. And if you're going to do it with somebody, you got to stay on top of it. And then you had two people that were on the board for the longest time that kept repeating patterns, having conversations. We keep repeating patterns. Ha 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 ha. And now you're wondering why shit caught up to you. And I'm not being an asshole. I may sound like one. Me and my ex-husband did that. How long are we going to do this? We said that to each other for fucking years. Years. You know? You got to know when to back away. You got to know when to put work into something. And now, because of poor advice, you're finding yourself in a very depressive state, not wanting to accept. And then you have somebody, like, for instance, the read yesterday, you have that woman that's been so naive to what's going on because she thought she would always win. She thought she would always have the control. Now shit is crumbling out of her hands and she's losing her shit. But you know what? The masculine or vice versa is going to get real pissed off and they're going to have enough. Because the universe is now interfering because the two of them didn't make decisions when they had multiple opportunities to make decisions and speak the truth. And court was there the whole time telling people how this shit was going to go down. Again, not giving you shit, but giving you shit. But at the same time, some people just don't have the strength to push through or want to see something or not want to see something, especially when two people are together, they're not meant to be together. They keep giving and taking, giving and taking, giving and taking. How the fuck do you ever let go if someone's giving and taking, giving and taking? And then you got somebody else that comes in that's giving, 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 fucking giving. You're living the best of both fucking worlds. Of course nothing's going to be fucking solved. So don't fool yourself if you put yourself in a situation like that. I was in a similar situation like that. I wasn't fooling myself. I was fully aware what was going down. And if it wasn't for what I do for work and knowing that someone needed me, I would have said, fucking see you later, Gator, a long time ago. And now you have a woman and a man that are disconnecting and going their own way because it's not meant to be. That person is not meant to be in your life anymore. So if you have children, family, business, figure it out. Boundaries need to be set. And I know it's hard and I know it's tough. But now you got a woman over here ain't doing nothing, pissed off, lousy communicator, not giving, only gives when they want, is losing control. She's been in denial. I don't know how she's been in denial. I don't know where on earth she was that she thought she was always in control of a situation. That woman on the board yesterday, losing her shit. Can't control her emotions. Have no choice but to put boundaries up. She wasn't blinded. She came in and out of that situation off and on for the last couple years. So it's your own damn fault when you put yourself in situations like this. You got to take your own blame. You got to accept it and you got to move forward. And now you got a masculine or a feminine over here that has no choice but to walk away because of the shitty fucking scenario and then realizing how shit went down. And then there's guilt and I did this and that was unfair. And yep, again, you figure it out when you're supposed to figure it out. But there's going to be testing. You got to create boundaries now. This is where people don't understand boundaries are so important because there's so much pain. So if that one wrong person comes back around and words thing a different way because there's manipulation, it's going to make you question why you're trying to mourn a situation because they're going to make you question if it can work. And you're convinced that somebody might not come back around the corner, convinced. Watch them come back around the corner because of their own lack of confidence, or this is lacking or that is lacking. And if they don't come back around the corner, the other person's probably going to have a harder time because then they need to acknowledge that person really didn't give as many fucks as they thought that person did. I really thought that person had my back. No, that person was in it for material, financial comfort or moral support because they didn't want to end up alone too, even though that they knew you guys weren't going to be together. Like, this is like people who, like, for the last year are like separating or divorced or went through their shit, but still thought they could be fucking friends without letting shit crash. Is so unrealistic. That's when people stay in a toxic relationship and they don't even have to be living together or together, but they still rely on each other. That shit's toxic. And now, like I said, you have the woman or you have the feminine, the masculine, however it works for you. The cards is the woman losing her shit, losing control. Someone's putting their foot down. Someone wants to go in a new direction, and the other person is livid because they didn't think they would happen. They always thought that they would have that man or that woman under control. It's pretty fucking sad. So a lot of people are either going to get tested right now with, I want you back when I really don't want you back. And then you have somebody else that's really hurting because they actually wanted it. And there was games being played between everybody. And then you have another scenario where, trust me, that person's not coming back. You have to accept that they played games and they were in it for the wrong reason. And not to mention the money that's been coming out too. There's some shady shit going down with money. There really is. I can't figure out what it is. It's either this person just was all about money, like physically, technically, like, oh my God, like if this person ever left, especially if someone's financially secure, right? If this person ever left, there goes my security. Selfish, right? But there's something going down with money. Like someone got caught doing something with money. It's been all over the boards. And I've been reading it for months. But nobody wanted to see it months ago because they were too busy getting fed. So either somebody's figuring it out that it was all about the money or someone got caught doing something with money. You know? And the family dynamics suck right now. That's been coming in for weeks. Weeks. And there's nothing you can do about it. It needed to crash so it can be rebuilt. It's tough, guys. Because it's like, I'm not trying to tell you you did the wrong thing by trying to fix a family dynamic. You thought you were probably doing the right thing. But the thing is, you never hold on because of kids ever. That's like the number one mistake that people make in this world. Holding on to a marriage or a boyfriend or a girlfriend because you guys have kids. It's the worst thing you can do. And you don't realize it until you've learned that lesson. Because your kids will never benefit. They'll never get the best of you, ever. If two people settle, they'll never get the best of each parent. And it's sad. My ex-husband settled. They'll never get the best of their dad. My kids will now get the best of me because I pushed through and broke conditioning. And it's like people ask, how do I push through? I don't think I can do it. Well, first of all, your mindset sucks ass because you've been around negative fucking people. You don't know what real fucking support is because you haven't had it. I mean, there's so many different fucking dynamics. And remember, I did a read weeks and weeks ago, and I did part 1 and part 2, and we actually brought it up the other day, and the masculine side was all about conditioning, and then you had like the woman side, and I was like, this is a lot. I'll come back and do the woman side. And certain people stepping in and things going down. That shit's happening right now. So a lot of people with tarot and energy is happening here and now, right? Some people are just on it and others it takes longer, right? So there's groups of you out here that are still now just in the energy of 3 or 4 weeks ago. So if it's not here and now, I guarantee if you were to go back to 2 or 3 weeks ago on my reads, that's where you're at. So I would suggest you start watching it from there. That's how that shit works. It's never instant. Like the energy is instant, right? But the stories tend to go back a little. The stories are more of like a prophecy of how things can fold out and things like that. That way you have a little bit of hope. You have a little bit of heads up, but you don't have the whole story, if that makes sense. But I can still read the exact story the same day because of the energy. Because it's where the planets are at. It's what the planets toss you. You don't even need cards. Cards are based off energy, which is based off astrology. In case some of you guys didn't know that. So astrologies don't need cards. They could tell you exactly there's going to be arguments today. There's going to be this. Today's a happier day. That's how astrology works. It's the same as tarot, except we use cards in our intuition, and they use planets in science and history. You know what I mean? Still boils down to the same exact thing. Literally is the same exact thing because both professions are reading the same energy. You're just going to get more of a story and an intuitive read and what you should do, and you know what I'm saying, based off of cards and depending on what type of reader you watch. Let me answer Lonnie real quick. I just got to find out what's going on with Jade first. I think she's coming here. But I can always bring her stuff here, from here, and bring it to you. I'm just on YouTube right now, so I'll touch base with her in a little while. Grandma just said she was going to come by and grab some chili. So new story. Well, there's always a new story. Here's the thing, guys. You have to create your own new story. You have to take yourself out of the energy. So if it's like, if you're still following the same story, you're somehow still involved. You're somehow still wrapped up. But yes, the new story, because the energy is shifting and we're going to be leaving Mercury. So yes, it's going to be a new story. But the planets don't change. Like we'll always have the same planets and stars, right? They rotate, they go direct, they go redirect. But they always repeat themselves at some point within the lunar cycles and years. You know what I'm saying? It will always come back to something. That's why it's so important to pick up on patterns and lessons, because it's not one of those things you master and then it goes away. That energy will roll back around. Mercury comes a couple times a year, Venus, they all go retro, they all go direct, they all move, they all station. It's just it's the way it is. So it's like the sooner you can learn and record, probably better off like recording, like logging certain stuff. Now I know why people do it. I wish I was better at it. Um, but it will always come back around. But Mercury for me doesn't kick me in the ass like that anymore because I started addressing shit a long time ago. Mercury is for if it's real bad, it's because you're holding on to something you should have let go a very long time ago. And then all the shit that you swept under the rug is coming to the surface. Like in the reads, there's a lot of stuff coming in from the past that you're arguing about now because you didn't deal with it years ago. It's resurfacing. You know what I'm saying? And it makes it worse because it didn't get acknowledged by one or the other, and it needs to be acknowledged. And that's when shit hits the fan. For others, if you've learned certain lessons during Mercury, it's more like what's next. For instance, like I did the other day, I've been saying I wanted to create a deck of cards. I swear, every time Mercury comes back around, my brain goes to making a deck of cards because it's the more positive side, but it's also pushing you like, what the fuck? How many times I got to remind you that you want to do this? You know what I'm saying? It's the same planet gives off the same energy. It's either positive or negative. Cause and effect, profit and loss. They always give off the same energy. It depends on where your headspace is. So they're always beneficial. It's just a matter if it's going to make you sad or it's going to get your ass into gear. Because then the other planets that usually follow make you get your ass into gear. But you can look at it like, oh, I'm being forced. No, you're probably not being forced. You think someone's forcing you. It's the universe forcing. It's the energy forcing because you stayed in a situation that you weren't meant to stay in. And you went about it way wrong and you knew you were going about it wrong and you still chose to stay in it. Shit will crash and burn. And then people are going to start realizing I deserve so much more. So yes, thank you, Mercury, because that's what is supposed to happen. You're supposed to realize that I do deserve more. And it is tough when something happens and you realize, wow, that person is really not who I thought they were. And I really defended that person. It's a big, swift kick in the ass. It's tough. Tough one to fucking swallow. Because true colors will fucking shine. And you can't keep arguing over the same shit over and over and over. Someone's gonna, eventually sniff out the bullshit. Probably took a little while. But I do want to tell you that story, but Lonnie didn't understand what I was saying. Hey. Where are you? Oh, is that the toaster oven? Okay. So what I was saying is Grandma, she's leaving, she's going shopping. She had told me that Jade was going to come by at lunch and grab chili because Grandma made chili. But I talked to Jade the other day and she's like, what time you get out of work? And I told her 6:30. And I said, LOL. I said, what do you miss, Mama? And she's like, yeah, kind of. I'm like, oh. I said, all right, then I'll come and hang out with you. I said, or you can come here after work. But I guess Grandma said to her, why don't you come by and grab some chili? So that's why I was like, do I do lunch with you or do I just do dinner with all of you? I don't know. So I got to touch base with her. And right now I'm just on YouTube, but I wanted to call you so there was no misunderstanding. So I'll figure that out. I'll do YouTube for like another hour or so, and then I'll head over. But yeah, I was definitely thinking Tuscan for sure. But you, well, I'll come for lunch. Oh, that's right. I did just say that. I gotta touch base with Jade. But here's the thing: if she's coming after dinner, then I can just bring the chili there. See, there must be something. Mm. I don't even remember because I was confusing myself. I gotta find out if Jade's coming for lunch or if I'm coming over there or she's coming after dinner. I didn't know about the lunch thing until now. I'd already texted you about lunch, and then grandma just left and she told me about Jade coming by. I didn't even know. But I know I